Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown for the week of September 3rd, 2018. My name is Trey, this is the Full Spectrum, Ultros is coming to get us, and let's get started. We start off this week with One Piece 916, Wano Sumo. This is a pretty fun chapter. I really liked just about all the Okiku moments. I liked Luffy getting super excited to fight Urashima when it comes to sumo style. And being like, I've never lost. I've always beaten Usopp. And it's like, Luffy, that's not a great record, buddy. But regardless, Luffy does a great job and completely annihilates Urashima. And it looks really cool when he does with giant sumo slap. We also get this fun moment where a bunch of people come to attack him, and Okiku is like, "Oh no, what should we do?" And Zoro's like, "Come on, just we know you can do it. Just kill him." And so then she does. And I thought that was really fun, where Zoro's just like not gonna put up with any of her coyness. For the most part, this chapter was just a go chapter. It was just a hey, let's have fun chapter. But it was also kind of a setup chapter, because towards the end of the chapter, it looks like things are about to kick off. It looks like we've got Hawkins and Hold'em and Luffy and Law, and Beppo's sick because he ate one of the poison fish, and Tama is in Hold'em's lion stomach jaws. This is going to get pretty crazy. Another moment that I thought was really fun was when Luffy pulls back for the giant sumo slap, and he sends his arm like really far back, and people are just like, "What is that thing?" And the lady's like, "Your guess as good as mine." It's like, yeah, that's pretty fair. The other thing that was revealed this chapter is that Hold'em called the Kozuki clan the clan of evil spirits? Is that because Odin could hear, like Roger could, the voice? And like, if that's the reason why, then like surely they would have understood. Or maybe that's a lie that's been passed down by Kaido and the new Shogun to try and discredit the Kozuki clan. But we'll see, I suppose. We don't know enough yet, but I thought that was very interesting. It definitely got my mind to spinning, trying to figure out what exactly that could mean. But I very much enjoyed this chapter. It was a lot of fun. And I forgot to put it, the whole reason we have the green screen here. The entire reason is so I could do this while I talked about One Piece. The whole purpose. Every bit of it. After that, we have Dr. Stone 72. Experience points. This was a good chapter. I really liked it. It felt like it went really fast, though. Like, the idea of it was Chrome is using things he's learned from working with Senku and from being a lone scientist before Senku showed up, and getting to be able to do something on his own. And it's a lot of the stuff that happens is really clever. Like Chrome facing off against Yo and pretending to have contracted pneumonia and just like spewing blood all over the ground, and some on Yo so that Yo panics so that Chrome can hit him directly in the family jewels as he's been training so that he can get away. Like, there's some really good moments in this chapter. Really clever work from Chrome. But then it just becomes, alright, Chrome wandered back to Senku's camp, and like Ukyo didn't catch up to him, and like Tsukasa didn't catch up to him, and Hyoga didn't catch up to him, because he wandered back the path that Suika took, and Kohaku found him. And it's like, yes, I'm glad that Chrome's okay, but it feels like he got away way too easily, and I'm betting he was being followed. Other than that, though, this was a really fun chapter. Using all of the tricks that he's learned from Gen and Senku and everybody else, really, to be able to get away was really cool, and I liked that. I liked that it wasn't just, the people were dumb so he could get away. It was that he actually had to be a little bit crafty. And I always think it's cool when you get a side-by-side of a character that came from the past and what they look like in the past. So like that shot of Yo standing there with that baton, that tonfa, and beside him is himself as a police officer. I thought that was really cool. So it was a really enjoyable chapter. I liked it. Following that, we had Black Clover 171, The Sleeping Lion. Fuego Leon! Fuego Leon! Yes! Not only is he back, but he has replaced his missing arm with fire! It's just a firearm! Yes! In a world full of magic, there should be no one with missing limbs or anything like that, because you can make a new one out of magic. So he has a firearm, and it's great! Also, there's this weird moment where, like, Elf Randall, the elf that's taken over Randall's body, notices Fuego Leon's magic and goes, Salamander? Like, he's shocked to see that the salamander is on Fuego Leon's arm. His firearm. Which I thought was pretty interesting. That means that we've already seen that some of this magic was stuff that the elves were familiar with before. So maybe the salamander was someone else's magic before. And maybe what would be really interesting, in my opinion, is if Fuego Leon woke up, because he was supposed to sleep for a long time, if he woke up because an elf tried to take over his body and he fought back against it and it woke him up. I think if that winds up being the reveal from this, that will be amazing. Because Fuego Leon is a beast, and I always liked Fuego Leon. When he was defeated by Patry, it was such a shame, man. So yeah, Fuego Leon's back. And Leo put up a good fight, too. There was a really touching moment where, like, the rest of the guild decides basically to die for him, if they have to, because they've noticed that that spark is in him, and one day he will be their captain. And I thought that was really cool. But, of course, he goes to try and to do something, anything, and his body gives out on him because he has reached his limit. Because unfortunately, even though his spirit is already at captain level, his skills are not. So it's a good thing Fuego Leon came out to rescue them. I also thought it was really cool that, like, the way that Leopold knew that Fuego Leon was coming was that he felt his mana, and it was like a warm blanket. Because, remember, for Leopold, Fuego Leon is not just an older brother, he's like a father to him. So having his fire suddenly light up, and feeling his mana come over him like a blanket, as if Fuego Leon, before he even stepped out of that building, was like, I'm here, little bro, it's okay, don't worry. Like, that got me. That got me really good. That was really nice. Because they could have easily not done that. And some people might argue it would actually have been a better surprise had they not done that. But I think it adds so much more to the moment, having Leopold get that feeling of, my big brother's here. Okay. So I'm excited to see Fuego Leon just destroy this elf. Because so far the elves have fought civilians and magic knights. And the magic knights are tough, but there's a reason there were a certain number of captains. And every time we've seen the elves fight captains, it has been an entirely different story. Yami took down 2 on his own. The 2 former captains in the jail, were easily able to take out an elf. The only ones that have really given them problems are elves that have taken over the bodies of captains. So, it's going to be pretty interesting to see Fuego Leon just destroy Randall here. After that, we had My Hero Academia 196. Make It Happen, Shinso. So, I love the flashback. The flashback that gives us an idea as to why they didn't have any great big plan figured out. It's because they were talking about Shinso's quirk, and they were figuring out Shinso's quirk. And there's this really fun moment where Kaminari is, like, praising Shinso. But what I really liked about this chapter was everyone having to work around the situation they've been put in. Because Class B has by far the better teamwork. But Class A is better at getting out of a pinch than Class B is. Class B is like, well, we got 2 of theirs and they only got 1 of ours. But you can tell that Class B's plan is completely thrown off by the loss of Subaraba. Whereas, like, Class A is going, okay, here's what we got, here's what we can do, let's do it. And I thought that was really cool with, like, the different takes on it based on where their experiences come from, as we've talked about in the last couple weeks. There's also a really fun moment where Kaminari reveals that he has Seekers from Hatsume, and that one of them is on Shishido's back, but that it wasn't Kaminari that noticed that he put it there. Like, he'd thrown them and one got stuck there. It was Suyu that noticed, and I thought that was really funny. Also, it looks like at the end of the chapter that Suyu might be able to clone herself. So that could be pretty cool. All told, this arc has been great. There was only, like, 2 more small notes that I took that I wanted to mention. Deku taking notes for Shinso. Whether for himself to be able to note down because he thinks Shinso will be something great one day, or to give to Shinso himself. And the notes are just basic things like a little bit, increased speed needed on tossing of wrap. And, like, just jotting down things that Shinso should know to work on. Which I thought was really cool, because it's a very Deku thing to do. And yes, some people could take that as Deku being like, I'm a better hero than he is. But it's not. It's Deku legitimately going, I wish somebody would do this for me. Here you go, The other thing that I thought was hilarious, Subaraba was captured by Suyu. She roped him up and threw him in the cell. And he's sitting in the cell, and, he's a little sorry for himself about how he's lost. And then all of a sudden he realizes that because she's a frog woman, the thing that she wrapped him up with her tongue. And he gets super freaked out and blushes, and it was great. It was just this moment of like, oh yeah, no, that was her tongue. Yeah, that is a little weird. You're gonna have problems. That's gonna scar you for life, isn't it? Oh boy. So that was kind of funny. I liked that a lot. But it was a really solid chapter. I was very happy with this one. After that, we had We Never Learn 77. At times, a murky sensation waxes or wanes and settles in X. This one was good, again. We're all in on this storyline now with Takemoto, which means we're not getting different girls every week as we go through the rotation, I guess you could say. Which means that some of the other girls are not getting any time at all right now, which is kind of unfortunate. But we're in a story arc, and so it's understandable. This story arc is good, too. I'm enjoying it. As Takemoto tries to distance herself more and more from Yuiga, and Yuiga, not knowing what's going on, trying to help her succeed, tries to support her as much as he can by being there as much as he can to help her learn. And where it all comes to a head is when they go to check out the college that she had wanted to go to before. Because she can't tell Yuiga she's not going there now, and if she acted like she didn't care while she's acting like she studies, it would really confuse him. So she goes with him, and while they're there and eating, a bunch of people think they're a couple. And it leads to this moment where Yuiga is just like, no, it's not like that, I'm sorry. And Takemoto is just not a part of the conversation. They get on the train, and they get pushed together on the train because of the press, and Yuiga is freaking out and going like, while Takemoto is reading her flashcards and pinching herself so she pays attention to her flashcards. This dichotomy of character, of fighting against your feelings to support your feelings, of fighting against one thing you love to go for another thing you love, it's going to tear her apart. And I don't know if it makes me a terrible person that I'm excited to see just how far it goes before she finally cracks under the pressure. Like, that sounds really cruel now that I think about it. But I do want to know how far she can go before the pressure gets to her and she just snaps under it. And I think this will all resolve in her giving up on going to that other school and staying here and going back to the status quo, because that's the way that most harems. But if this resolves in Takemoto leaving, she either wins or loses automatically. And you go, well, of course you could say that. Anybody could say that. But if she leaves, Yuiga either pines for her while she's gone, or the story continues as if she was never there. And if the first happens, she's won. Everybody else might as well give up. She's won. If the second happens, she's out. No chance. I like Takemoto. I really do. I'm torn on this because Takemoto has definitely come up for me. At first, she was on the bottom, and now Ogata's on the bottom, which is not fair to Ogata, but, I like Takemoto. I really do. But I think that I think that this arc may be just what she needs to get a little bit more character of her own. Because for a long time, her character has been, I'm hardworking, I like Yuiga, I like to swim, I like to help people. And that's great. She's been the peppy, energetic, great, it's wonderful. But this arc really adds a lot of definition to her character in a really cool way and gives her some distance to grow in. So we'll see where it goes, but I'm excited to find out. Following that, we had Food Wars 277, the second year, first semester finals. So, first off, I want to immediately give Sugata a big, well done, because everybody thought this was just going to be a beach arc. Everybody was like, well, Food Wars isn't doing that great. Time to head to the beach. Fan service arc. Nope. This is actually a test. They're going to be working in a restaurant. They're not going to be chilling on the beach all day. I thought that was a really fun twist. They also had to make a lot of money. 3 million yen in 3 days. And the Council of 10 members obviously have it tougher because they have to fix up an old cabin and then make money with it. And I wonder, because they mentioned that the Council of 10 always have it tougher, I wonder if they just always go back to that cabin and smash it up again so they have to fix it and use it again. Because if so, I want that guy's job. I want to be the guy that comes into a beautiful looking cabin restaurant and goes, you know what, this looks really good. Smashes it up and then comes back to eat there. I want to see that. This was fun though. I thought it was really cool that Suzuki didn't really make an appearance at all, which was good. A lot of people don't like him. I have grown on him as an antagonist, but a lot of people are not happy with him as an antagonist. So having at least 1 week where he's not there is very helpful. There wasn't a lot of arena this chapter either, so it was kind of cool to see the characters get to do their own thing instead of it all being about this love triangle. Obviously, Soma is still thinking about the direct order of make Arena say his food is good, beat Suzuki, but everybody else is focused on their own stuff, and Soma will have to as well. He'll have to cook, and he'll have to help fix up the place. So I'm excited to see where that goes. Arena having her own challenge, that's the word, that she has to do is really cool. And although I would have liked to have seen it, it was kind of funny, the imagery they gave. Suzuki does show up right at the end of the chapter, but what he says... You know how I just talked about having a break and how most of this chapter is that break from the love triangle and to give you a chance to recuperate? Suzuki comes in at the end of the chapter and just drops a bomb of Arena's going to be leaving soon and doesn't explain what that means. And it was like this moment of just fresh air and breathing great, and then all of a sudden just boom. There's the smog of the city. You're choking again. Let's go. And it was just like, man, I get that you wanted a cliffhanger, but if you had put this off 1 week, just given us 1 week of them just working on their stuff without the love triangle, because if you push the love triangle every chapter, people are going to get tired of it. That's why people have gotten tired of it. And so having all except for the very last page with no Suzuki, and then suddenly just, Suzuki, Eren is going to be leaving soon. Hope you said your goodbyes. It's just like, oh, come on. Come on. You were doing so well. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I'm assuming he's wanting to take Erina away, or that she's just going away for a week or something, and Suzuki is trying to goad Soma some more, but we'll see. After that, we had the Promised Neverland 101. This whole chapter is crazy. With Emma seeing visions at Kuvitadala and seeing this little demon wizard who is probably the person that the promise was made with, and having this dragon there, and then the barrier between night and day, and oh man, it's super evocative. But she only had access to all of this because of the pendant that Mujika gave her, which again makes us ask, who is Mujika? Is she a daughter of this guy? Is she a priestess of this guy? Like, what connection did she have? And by then, of course, who is Sonju that was protecting her? Like, it just raises a lot of questions. And the chapter ends with the tiny demon saying, "Come." So obviously they've got to make it to where he is to be able to make a new promise with him. And Emma's determined to do so, but I don't trust him at all. But this was a really cool chapter. It was very short, but in a very small amount of time, it showed a lot of things. The thing that interested me the most was the barrier between night and day. Obviously, that makes a callback to the idea of the two split worlds, the human world and the demon world. But also makes me question the barrier between night and day. Is it not just a group, like a distance thing? Is it actually a dimensional thing? Like crossing the horizons? I don't know. We'll see. But that would explain why the humans are safe and why they're able to just cart things over is by using a dimensional gate. Regardless, this was a great chapter. I'm looking forward to more. It raised so many questions. Who is Mujika? Who is Sonju? Why are they important? Are they still alive? I'm assuming they probably are. Sonju seemed pretty tough. But, we'll see. Following that, we had One Punch Man 89, Pochi. Garo is continuing to surpass his limit again and again and again and again. And I feel like if he hasn't got to Saitama level yet, he's getting there. Because it seems like every time that he should have died, he gets back up, he has a bad wound, he eats, and then he's back at it again. And it was really cool to see him fight these three jobbers, basically, that were threat level demon, and basically they're nothing to him because he has figured out their attacks are nothing compared to what he's gone through, the kill box with the other heroes. Specifically, there's a moment where they show him dodging like Sting Spear as he dodges one of the monsters, and then like everything else he's gone through, these guys are nothing to him anymore, and he has no problem with them at all. Effortlessly is beating them. But then Pochi shows up, who is on dragon level. And Pochi annihilates the smaller monsters. And then destroys Goro. Like, Goro puts up a good fight, but just constantly getting shoved down through layers upon layers upon layers until he falls down to Goro. Couple things I loved about this chapter. As we talked about, that moment of that dodge where he sees Stinger and Stinger's spear, and it just really called back to me that Garo has improved through what he's been through. It hasn't been just a like level boost. It's that the things he has gone through had made him the level of strength that he's at. And the other was when Pochi fires that blast that hits Garo, it comes up with death on it. Just like when Saitama went to punch Genos and pulled his fist back, Genos saw death. And it makes me wonder if these threat level dragon monsters have got a piece of what Saitama has when it comes to unlocking your limiter. Obviously, we feel like Lord Orochi probably has, because he's the chief of the monsters here. But if these guys have even a little bit of it, it's going to be a tough fight for a lot of the heroes. And it could be at least a little interesting for Saitama. So we'll see how that goes. But I thought that was really, really fun. I think it's really interesting to see the way that Garo has advanced. Because even in his fight with Pochi in this chapter, it's a great fight. But he gets beat up, and then he learns the timing on the blasts, and he dodges a bunch of them, and then he's able to hit Pochi. And Pochi's like, nah, man. And just trashes him down into where Goro is. And of course, Goro wants to, use Garo still, and he's excited to see that he's still alive and that he made it here. And then Goro holds him with telekinesis, but I'm excited to see where Garo can go, and he's really become one of my favorite characters in a way that I did not expect when we first met him. But with all that said, Jump this week was really good. Chapter of the week. is probably going to go to... I don't think we've said this very often, but I think I'm going to give Chapter of the Week to Black Clover. Just Fuego Leon stepping out like that, everything with Leopold, it was really, really solid. I loved it. With all that said, though, I've been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. Jump has to offer.